Hi guys! So I just wanted to jump on here because I actually just got off the phone with TMZ. They just called me to get my opinion on the latest I am transgender Trisha Paytas video. So I just want to start this video off by saying I know nothing about Trisha. I mean, obviously I've seen her on the internet and on YouTube and stuff like that, but I don't know this woman at all. But it's always hard for me to kind of give feedback on people that I don't know personally or have ever met in person. I just don't like to judge people. Sometimes what we say online can or cannot, much like in a text message, come across or be interpreted in a way that we don't really mean it. But this particular one resonates with me, not only because I'm trans, but because of the message that she's putting out there for other people who are not trans and that actually may be confused about their gender or what being gay is, what being bi is, what being lesbian, and what being trans is. My number one thing about educating people on what it means to be transgender is we need to understand the difference between what sexual orientation is, right? Which is the lesbian, gay, and bi, and what being transgender is, which is the T. Being lesbian, gay, or bi is a sexual identity, a sexual orientation, a sexual preference. Meaning, what you're attracted to. Let's just keep it as simple as possible. What you're attracted to sexually, okay, what you prefer to go to sleep with, not as, but what you prefer to go to sleep with is your sexual orientation. Now, what you go to sleep as is your gender identity. Now, people are gonna hate me for this, but I seriously feel like the T does not belong in the LGBT acronym anymore. And I'll tell you why. I feel like so many people confuse being transgender with being homosexual. A lot of the hate that the trans community is experiencing is actually homophobia. Not transphobia, but homophobia. Because people think if I'm with a trans person, that makes me homosexual. And that is completely wrong. Because if a straight identifying cis man is with a trans woman who also identifies as straight, okay, because I am a straight woman. At the end of the day, I'm not gay. If I was gay, I would be attracted to women. I'm not, I'm attracted to men. So, without getting too off topic, for a straight cis man to be with a straight trans woman, that doesn't make you gay. Just because the trans woman may have a penis, yes, which we have to stop associating with male or female. At the end of the day, what's between my legs is none of your business. And is actually only the business of the person that I'll be settling down with or going to sleep with. 99% of the rest of my life, that doesn't matter. So like, just remember that, you know, when you're talking to trans people. So I really hope I made that as like clear as possible, because honestly for me, that is the core. That is the core of this whole entire movement. That is the core and the key to people like Trisha no longer being confused. That is the core to our trans sisters getting killed. Trans people are getting killed not because the people that are killing them are seeing them like the ultimate homosexual fantasy, like, oh, you're just so freaking gay that you want to be a woman. Or like, oh, you're actually a dude and you tricked me into sleeping with you because I thought you were a woman. No, I am a woman. Trans people are exactly what they say they are. We are the most honest human beings here and there. Sure, I tell a little white lie here and there, but baby, one thing that we don't lie about is our gender. Why? Because we don't want you to kill us at the end of the night. So without getting too off topic, I just kind of want to respond to Trisha because I've also got a few DMs too on the behalf of the community wanting me to respond and to react. And I don't usually make these reaction videos because I like to, I don't know, feel people out more or kind of know more where they stand on the topic. But I feel like the time is now. So much is happening for trans people, and I cannot take people confusing the idea of being transgender anymore. So there were a few things in the video that I found hurtful and offensive. One being Trisha stating that she's been with people who have partially transitioned or fully transitioned, or she was saying that basically like there's different types of trans people. People that have fully transitioned, partially transitioned, or don't want to transition at all. Okay. Let me just say, trans people, like, it's a state of mind. It's not a state of being. So whether you got breasts, a vagina, or whatever, I'm just going to speak on the behalf of trans women because that's my truth. And you guys can just obviously fill in the blanks. Sorry, but when we're talking about this stuff, you know, for me as a trans female activist, I have to kind of like speak on the behalf of trans women, not forgetting about our trans brothers, but when I'm speaking, it does just make it easier. Regardless whether a trans woman, A, has surgery, whether that be facial feminization, breast augmentation, sexual reassignment surgery, whatever, that doesn't make her any more or less trans than the person who has had absolutely nothing done at all. Okay, that doesn't make this person any better, any more trans, any further in her transition. It just makes her the type of woman that she is. Just like there's cis women out there with a little bit more surge, a little bit more makeup, or a little less surgery and a little bit less makeup. It's like, let's get over this hump of like, again, confusing gender identity and sexual orientation. Surgery has nothing to do with being transgender. Being transgender is simply a state of mind. It's not a state of being. There's bitches out there with dicks and there's guys out there with pussies. What can I tell you? It's just where we are right now. To be quite honest, I don't want a vagina. Like, let's just put that out there right now. I don't want a vagina right now. That doesn't mean that maybe later on in my transition, not necessarily when I'm more transitioned or less, it's just when I'm further along in my self-discovery as a person in general. But me being transgender is such a small percentage of who I am as Gia Ichikawa. I am so much more than just trans. I am an Asian American, Spanish speaking, beautiful woman. And that's all that you need to remember. Another thing that for me was an issue in Trisha's video was her saying, I don't like they, them. I don't like, you know, that sounds like we're talking about a plural group of people. Bitch, you are a they, them. Like, you literally just got on a video and were like, oh, well, like, I love to be like hyper femme, but like some days I think like a drag queen, and then some days I feel like a gay man, and then, but I'm a trans man. No, I think what I'm hearing, mama, is that sometimes you feel like a man and sometimes you feel like a woman, and that's completely okay. But boo, I have news for you. That's being a they, them. That's why society has created this term for people like you. So again, my biggest advice to her is, you know, let's think before we talk. Let's maybe do a little bit more research now, or actually sit down with maybe a trans person like myself who has these viewpoints and are able to educate you on kind of your confusion, or helping you sort out what all these different terms and labels and identities actually really mean. So to all my gender non-conforming people out there, my heart goes out to you. I know, honestly, that for me, I feel like you guys have it the hardest. People understand male and female, and people are starting to understand trans men and trans women. But gender non-conforming and being they, them is, I think, something just more confusing for people, because we're brought up in a society that forces us to think in a very black or white manner, up or down. You know, do I go left or right? Do I buy the blue one or the pink one? Am I man or am I woman? And I'm here to tell you that it's okay. It's okay to not know. It's okay to be a they, them. It's okay to be in the middle. Please don't rush yourself into developing who you are. It takes a lifetime. I always like to use Caitlyn Jenner as an example. I know a lot of people give her a lot of hate and a lot of negativity and a lot of backlash. Never mind her viewpoints and stuff like that. I'm just talking about what her journey looked like as a trans person. I think that's completely fine. So what if somebody is older? Guess what? That person is wiser and sure. I didn't transition until I was 25 years old because my mother asked me to wait until I was 25 years old to transition because that is when your brain is fully developed. And I can't help but to give that advice to other people out there that are not sure about transitioning or their gender. So just remember, you can just be you. You don't gotta be transgender because sometimes you feel like this and that. And my advice to Trisha is, boo, you just gotta educate yourself a little bit. I think your intentions are completely good. I didn't hear any maliciousness in the video. I heard some things that could be taken as offense if you are insecure or maybe confused about your own gender, or some things are triggering. For me, I was not offended because I'm pretty sure about who I am. So all I saw was somebody who was just uneducated and a little bit confused and just needs help from someone like me. So when I watched Trisha's video, I actually was inspired to now make this video, which is now going to help somebody else and their journey. So actually, I thank people like Trisha for being unapologetic about the way that they think. If I never heard people like Trisha share their viewpoints on being transgender and identity, I would never know what work it is that I have to do. So I thank you for letting me know, where we are in this movement of transgenderism, or whatever you want to call it. It really does let me know how much more of these videos I have to do, and how much more public speaking I have to do, and how just much more proud I have to be about being transgender. And that's just not something that I ever thought that I would be. So I make this video with great pride and just being proud to be me. And I just hope that you all too can find yourselves and see beyond YouTube and the internet and Instagram and stuff like that, and know that there is an outlet out there for us. There is a future for us, and it's a very bright one. It's a very positive one. Maybe this world could be led by trans people. Maybe we can have people in office, trans people in office, or actually making decisions for our country. Trans people have so much to offer when it comes thinking equal and being mindful. You have to remember, before I was a woman, yes, I was a man, I was a boy. I lived majority of my life with male privilege, with male characteristics, with influence from society on what a boy is. And then at 25, I had to kind of relearn what life means to me now, what relationships mean to me now, what identity means to me now, what my sexual orientation means to me now. So honestly, it's a big process, and just remember that it gets better. And just remember that sexual orientation and gender identity are very separate things, and that being trans is a state of mind and not necessarily a state of being. Thank you guys so much for listening, and until next time, stay absolutely sickening. Love you.